Hey, welcome. Today I'd like to offer a reflection about overwhelm and despair coming out of post-lockdown. So, enjoy. Okay, so I was speaking to a friend and she was just mentioning about her son not in a good space. And I'm hearing this from people that with the lockdown, with what's going on in the world, that people are struggling in this sense of despair and overwhelm at the moment. And partly that it's been tough, 2-3 months in lockdown, being inside or being with our partners and having that intensity, and now it's over. It feels that, this is coming from my perspective, that okay, what now? And certainly with the riots going on, that it can seem quite overwhelming. It's like it almost felt like the riots is like this expression of energy that we'd been holding on to in the lockdown, but then there's this come down, and that for me is why I'm recording this video today, is to do with overwhelm and despair. So I want to talk a little bit of just what some of the things you can do. So, in my own life, I've gone into real despair in my 20s, very suicidal, self-harming, not in a good space. So I still have times when I can feel the heaviness. And yet, what I've done is over the years is just started to train myself to, it's like have that routine, that practice. And I say this to my clients, is that it's like we keep our practice going when we're on an up or when we're feeling good. That when things change, it's like with lockdown, when things get challenging, it kind of the energy that we've kept going when things are feeling good, life is good, it carries us through the dark times. But oftentimes we feel up and it's like, I don't need to do my practice, I don't need to take care of myself. And it's actually, no, these are the times where we cultivate, we create that inner strength, that muscle, so that when things are difficult, then, we can get through those times. If you were in this space, there's a few things that I've personally found really helped me when I was in my dark times, really in despair. So the first thing is exercise, just getting outside. It's like putting my shoes on, going out walking. And Irving Kersh, he was at the University of Hull at the time. I think he's now in Miami, but he did some research into antidepressants using Prozac and using as a remedy exercise. And they found that they had similar levels of working, that the Prozac, the antidepressants and the exercise worked on a similar level. But the relapse rate, so it was 8% of those who were exercised as a form of helping with depression, they relapsed 8%, and it was something like 30 or 40% relapse with those who took Prozac, who took antidepressants. So I think for me, I found in my own life that exercise, just getting out, you feel this despair, it's like move. Often what we're doing is we're doing the same things, like Einstein said, that the definition of insanity, I don't know if this is a true quote, but it's being quoted, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So, if you're not in a good space and what you're doing is looking at your phone, it's like, do something different. Go outside, be physical. So for me, during lockdown, you can see this little table behind me here. I made that table. I've made 3 tables actually. I need another one further up. And I spend a lot of time in the garden, being physical. So I'll work, writing my book, working with clients, and then I'll come out and I'll potter in the garden, plant some things with my wife, or cut the grass, or make something. It's like being physical, so I'm not just in my head. And I feel in lockdown we've just gone into our heads, which is fine. There's a time for that, but it needs to be balanced out. And I did mean to bring a painting down, but I forgot. So one of the other things I've really found over the years, certainly in my 20s when I was really struggling, the kind of as low as I could get, was painting. And recently, last couple of weeks, I've been doing a men's circle, and we were talking about the lover archetype last week, and I was researching Robert Moore's book, The Lover Within, and in it he talks about painting, and I did painting, and I never understood quite what I was doing on a psychological level, although it was my Jungian analyst who was guiding me. And what they say in the book is the artist channels the feelings of inferiority or worthlessness, and instead of getting lost in fantasies, he channels it into something of collective significance. So it's like you're struggling, but you go and make something, you paint. And, especially when we're painting, sometimes we write something, or we sing, or we find words. That's great, but what they're saying about painting, it goes to the pre-verbal kind of stuff. So I paint abstract. I use my hands. And at the weekend I was painting, and it's like, I don't have to paint long, but it's just like, what am I feeling? And I kind of allow that to flow through me. And then it is, like I said, there's something of collective significance. I can now, if I wanted to, put into a gallery. Yeah, but what we're doing is we've got this despair, we've got this feeling of, of overwhelm, but it stays in our head. But channel it into something. And I love painting because of colour. It's primal. So that's what one of the things I recommend. And yeah, I think the final thing I just want to speak on a bit here is about nature. Here I am, I'm barefoot on the earth, and during lockdown, a lot of time, I'm in the garden, I'm barefoot. In the winter time, I'll still come out, not for long, but I will come out barefoot. And this comes back to earthing, grounding, that Clint Ober talks about in his book, Earthing, that the energy field of the earth, it's negatively charged with ions. And when we walk barefoot, as our ancestors would have done, it kind of charges the battery that is the human pole, the human battery. So it's like charging us up when we walk barefoot on the earth. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, despair, come outside, potter. Maybe make something. I wouldn't necessarily recommend making something in particular, just potter. Maybe if you've got a knife, whittling, or making something, got flowers, make a mandala. It's like just create, move the body. So we get out of our head, and then from that perspective, we then have a greater perspective. It's like, I can see clearly, even if it's a millisecond. So yeah, just some reflections really. If you're feeling this post-lockdown, the final thing is like, this is showing us, with what's going on with the riots, with the breakdown in communication, showing us what we don't want. We don't want this. And therefore the question to ask yourself is, what do I want? It's really helping us to see as humanity, what do we want? Do you want peace? Do you want people to get on? Do you want the people, the powers that be, to really care for us, for our highest good, rather than their pockets, rather than their wealth? It's like, yes, yes, yes. So, just some reflections here, and as always, please comment below. Please go to my website. I am doing what am I doing? I'm doing a podcast most Fridays called An Evolving Man, where I'm interviewing men. I have my book. The Kindle version's not up yet, but that should be up by the end of July. You can buy my book there, and yeah, please feel free to come and find me and message me. and connect. So yeah, sending you love, light, and know that these challenges are helping us to grow, and you are going to be on the leading edge. So keep doing this work, keep moving through this, because it will change. It always does. It always does. So many blessings to you. Have a wonderful week, and I'll speak to you next Wednesday.